is buried. Nobody in the sandbox will ever know the real customer data is in there.
Frankie, did you encrypt it or did you just hide it and hope?
Is there any difference?
A massive one. You just told me you have Shield turned on, which means the data is encrypted at rest. But any developer with field access can just read it in plain text through a report.
Oh, so I buried the body in a see-through coffin?
Exactly. Let's talk about why Shield and data masking solve two completely different problems.
Wait, I thought you have shield. Basically meant our data is protected. Full stop. What am I missing?
This is the single most common misconception in Salesforce data security, and it's worth being very precise about it. Salesforce Shield's platform encryption encrypts data at rest, meaning in Salesforce storage layer, in backups, and in transit. That's generally valuable protection against things like physical storage breach at a data center or unauthorized backup access. But it does not restrict what an authorized user can see. If someone has field level security permission to view a field, they see the plain text values, regardless of whether Shield is turned on, because Shield protects data in storage, while application level access is controlled separately by permissions. So a developer with sandbox access queuing real customer P2 via SOCL sees it completely unencrypted, whether you have Shield or no Shield.
So, shield stops someone breaking into the vault at 3 am. It does absolutely nothing about the guy with the key just walking in during business hours. Okay, so what actually solves that problem? The guy with the key seeing real data he shouldn't?
That's exactly what data mask solves. And it's a completely different tool from Shield. Data masking replaces real personal data value with realistic looking substitutes before a sandbox becomes accessible to anyone. So instead of a developer querying a sandbox and seeing Sarah Thompson, like sarah.thompson@customeremail.com, they see something like Jim Richardson at devsave.example.xyz.com. It's a structurally identical to real data for testing purpose. Same format, same field length, same behavior, but it belongs to no actual person. The developer never sees a real customer information, ever, regardless of what permission they have in that sandbox.
So instead of hiding the body better, I just replaced it with a very convincing mannequin. Nobody needs to see the real one at all. Do I need both shield and data mask, or is picking one enough?
You genuinely need both, because they cover completely different attack surfaces. That's the honest answer, even though it sounds like a sales pitch. Shield protects production data at rest and adds event monitoring and field audit trail on top of encryption. Data masking protects the copies of data sitting in sandboxes, where developers, testers, and partners actually spend most of their working hours. If you buy only Shield, you have closed the production storage breach door, but left every sandbox wide open with real, readable customer data. If you only mask sandboxes, your production data at rest still isn't encrypted. A defensive compliance posture mapping to framework like GDPR Article 32 or HIPAA genuinely needs both layers working together, not one standing in for the other.
So it's not shield versus masking. It's shield and masking, holding hands, covering each other's blind spots, very wholesome for a horror episode. Last thing, is shield expensive overkill for a smaller org, or is this something everyone genuinely needs?
It depends entirely on your actual compliance and risk profile, and that's a fair thing to interrogate before buying it. Shield is a premium additional cost suite. Platform encryption, feed audit trail, event monitoring, and data detect. And it's specifically designed for organizations managing sensitive data or operating under regulations like HIPAA, SOX, or GDPR. If that's genuinely your situation, Shield isn't overkill. It's stable stakes. But if you are smaller org without those specific regulatory pressures, the smarter first move might just be nailing least privilege permission and masking your sandboxes properly, both of which cost you discipline, not necessarily a new license, before reaching for the premium encryption suite.
So check what you are actually protecting against before buying the fancy vault. Words to live by. Also, words I should have said before I buried anything. Frankie's lab notes. Mildly embarrassed about the mannequin thing. 1. Shield platform encryption encrypts data at rest. It does not stop an authorized user from seeing plain text if they have field access. 2. Data mask involves the exact gap by replacing real values with realistic fakes in sandboxes. So nobody ever sees real customer data there in the first place. 3. You genuinely need both. They cover different surfaces, production versus sandboxes. And 4. Shield is real money for real regulatory needs. Check your actual compliance profile before assuming you need the premium suite. This has been Frankie's Lab Notes. The mannequin is saying it's actually a great listener.
That's episode 10. Next time, we go back and finish the sharing model conversation. We started with uninvited guest, this time looking at what happens inside the castle wall. See you there.